Right then, hopefully, as you can see, what these nice little stages that we've done here has given us this kind of nice little dirty, grimy look to the whole model as like a nice base. Okay, I'm seeing here, you know, we've got kind of nice clean white bits, and then they go a bit, you know, light aircraft grey, and our recessed panel lines, you know, have got all this kind of nice, kind of even darker kind of white going on. So it all just brings together some nice weathering. Now we can add another stage, which I'm going to do with this to make it a little bit more dirtier. Okay, and that is, I've come along and I've just basically the same kind of mixture as your bleaching. Okay, we're talking maybe about, you know, something like maybe 80-90% thinners to like 20 to 10% paint. Now I've got this 050 light grey by Vallejo, couple of drops in there just to give us a nice thin transparent mixture. Okay, and what we're going to do is just nice and carefully, okay, we're going to go right into our recessed panel lines and just follow the recessed panels a bit the same way that we do pre-shading, only we're being really light, really careful, really transparent. Okay, and one thing we're also doing as well, you really don't want to be going off and making sure you get an even thick coat all round. If you kind of pass a panel line and you don't actually get paint come out and go down, doesn't matter. Okay, if you get a lot of paint go down somewhere else and it looks thicker, I mean, that is what you're after. You're after really kind of random, you know, sometimes, you know, you want paint actually on some panel lines. Okay, you want some panel lines to have more paint on. Okay, so you've got panel lines that are like kind of really dark, looking really dirty. Some panel lines are looking very kind of lightly dirty. You know, even focus on things like flaps and slats and air brakes, you know, really kind of make them a bit darker and more grimy and dirty. Okay, we're just giving this a nice quick blast of post shading. Okay, I'll just get this one wing done. The key to post shading is just being light and kind of fast as well. You know, just quickly go round all your line or your recessed lines, all your panel lines. Just quickly go around them and just, you know, just try not to think you've got to get paint everywhere nice, equal, even. Okay, if you miss something, it doesn't matter. If you overdo some areas, it doesn't matter, because it kind of gives you that effect. Now I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but I've just given it that light little bit of extra weathering going on. Okay, and the thing is, after I've done like deckling and everything, what I'll probably do is I'll come back and I'll probably come back and maybe use something like a dark sea grey. Okay, so that I've got an even darker post shade. Okay, where what that'll do is I'll target specific areas and kind of make a little area here, a little area there, just look really kind of dirty. And then I'll even go one step further right at the end, get out the black and do the same thing, a bit more post shading, and bring out some other areas a bit more as well, and just have this randomness of different kind of, you know, you've got light clean bits, you've got really dirty bits, you've got mediocre dirty bits. You know, the more random it is, I find the more impressive it can look. And if you pick out those areas, just remember to pick out those areas that are gonna get dirty, which will make it look more realistic as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna now go around the entire model and don't forget all your little bits as well, and just give this another layer of kind of post shading, and I'll get back to you and show you kind of the results. Right then, so gone all the way around. Okay, few last little bits of weathering we can do while we've got this light grey in our cup is just to do some quick flicks. Okay, with a quick flick we're just we're bringing back the needle as we're flicking forward, and then coming off the needle as we flick past the model. Okay, so it gives us this nice kind of showing of a direction of flow as the dirt kind of flows, you know, where the airflow's going. Okay, and it just adds a little bit of a extra bit of weathering. Okay, and we could just randomly throw these wherever, around our engine exhaust area as well. We can just give just a quick kind of blast all over that area, just like a very light misty quick coat, and sort of do some big flicks just to kind of show some sort of flow and everything, just flicking it and getting all that kind of, making that just look, as you can probably see, a little bit darker around that area. Okay, now that's just nicely being, you know, shall we say, the kind of nice main spray stage, getting this nicely all weathered up now. The next bit, as I've said, you know, once I've put the decals down, I like to come out with a bit of a darker post shade, okay, just to maybe darken certain areas up, as well as, I mean, our decals, they're going to look pretty pristine, nice and clean. Okay, so they could do with, like, you know, a very light transparent post shade on top of the decals as well, just to give them a bit of dirt and grime to them. And then right at the end we could come along with a very transparent bit of black to really kind of target some specific areas. Okay, and that is basically how I do white. Okay, the main feature of doing white is just to add that little bit of black to your main coat, just to make it like a light aircraft grey, so when you come round to doing that bleaching, you know, you can just come in with just white really nicely thin down to make it really nice and transparent, and then you can do your bleaching and it gives you this nice effect. Okay, so until the next little thing on this, which we're going to probably look at this area here, which is going to be some deckling going on. Right then, what we have is our Vixen now has had a nice gloss coat all over, and it's had a nice time to dry overnight for the gloss to go proper rock hard, cure and proper dry. Okay, all ready for deckling. Now what I did do, okay, is I concentrated on this area here on the fuselage section with the gloss. Okay, I'll give it just a bit more of a couple of coats, okay, just to make this nice and smooth, and I'm feeling this now and it feels nice and smooth, okay, which is what you want, because this section here, okay, we got a bit of tricky deckling, and the smoother it is, okay, the better a decal is gonna like be able to conform and adhere to the actual model. Okay, so for this section I've got a picture here just here. Okay, what you've got, I'll just bring you in a sec. Okay, what you've got is you've got all this kind of red bits going on the back, okay, but the decals themselves, okay, are like big decals. What I mean by this is where these red lines are, in the middle of the red lines, it's just a clear film, okay, and because we got so much of it, just bring you out one sec, because we've got so many decals going on here, we're going to have a lot of clear decal film going on, okay, which means if we don't do this right and do a few little precautions, okay, we're going to potentially be in situations of having lots of silvering. Okay, so we need to make sure we pay particular attention to this. Now, a quick little tip, I did buy, I'll just bring you around, okay, I did buy one of these. I know it seems a bit, yeah, but I mean, it's one of these food warmer trays, okay, what you can see here, and it basically keeps food warm. It's something like £10. You can get it pretty much from anywhere. And what I've done is I've got how many here? We've got 5 ceramic tiles, okay, and then we've got our little pot of water. And what this will do is the candle underneath will provide enough warmth going through these 5 ceramic tiles to keep our water nice and warm at a nice temperature, so as, you know, we can get our decals all nice and wet without it being too cold for it to well, if it's too cold you can end up with like cracked decals, and if and you don't want to have it boiling hot. That's why I've got 5 ceramic tiles to keep it at what is a nice temperature. So we can just dip these in here, okay, and then we pull them out, and then we can just put them on the side on a nice flat surface. Okay, I'll just bring you around again. Okay, there we go. So while they're getting all nice and wet and softening up a bit, what I've got in here is a bit of micro set, okay, with a load of water. There's about that much micro set, and then the rest is all water. It's in a nice little spray, and what we just want to do, we just want to get this area all nice and wet and moist for our decals to go on, with a bit of micro set just to start that adhesive process and softening the decals. Okay, now I'm not going to do all these because there is just loads and loads of decals, but I'm just going to show you how I make sure I get a really nice fit for the decals to avoid all this potential massive silvering. Okay, so I'm going to start with piece number 25. Although they have not yet properly, shall we say, had enough moisture in them, so I'm just going to cut away until that's done. Right then, these have just had enough time, it didn't take too long for them to be able to now slide off, okay, so I'm just sliding this now off onto our model, carefully, okay. And as you can tell, it's quite wet here, and now I've had it quite wet so that it will nicely go onto my. I'll just bring you in a little bit more actually, so you can see a bit better. Okay, what we can do, we can use our finger just to bring this in position. Okay, like so. And then we can get some of our micro set, okay, and just put a nice little bit on top, okay, just like so. And we want that to work its way into the decal, soften it up, add some adhesiveness for about maybe about a minute or two, and then I'll show you the next bit. Right then, that's had a nice bit of time for our micro set to kind of go in there. Now I'm just very quickly, now this is wet, but where we've got like holes, shall we say, I like to just give it a quick pin prick, okay, but you've got to be careful doing this, okay, and the holes I'm on about are, I'll just bring you right in for this. 1 second, there we go. I'm on about these little holes here, okay. We got that one and that one. I'll just give them a little pin prick, okay, just so the air can get out of those little holes. And then what we want to do, okay, with a cotton wool bud, we want to just roll across the decal film, okay, just roll it, not pull or anything like that. We're just rolling out what air, what moisture we can from underneath the decal, okay, and roll it out, okay, because the air is what makes the silvering, okay. that is what gets you into the trouble. Okay, so by rolling out this air, the moisture, okay, what we're doing is we're getting rid of the air, we're getting rid of moisture, we're pushing the decal more down, we're getting more adhesiveness, okay, and we're getting this decal to proper get stuck down onto the model and making a really nice, really tough kind of the surface of both the decal film and the model are literally touching 100%, okay, because we don't get that 100% touching of the decal film and the model, and we've got air in there and water and all that kind of stuff, okay, that is where you're going to get some nasty silvering. Okay, now once you've done that, while the decal is, shall we say, nice and soft still from our 1 second, I'll bring it out again. And while it's all still nice and soft and all nice and wet still, okay, I like to come in straight away with the micro sole where it's going to have the most effectiveness, okay, and we just apply this on top. Now these are good decals, okay, I think they're printed by a cartographer, so you shouldn't have much of a problem, okay. And if you apply your decals like this, okay, we shouldn't really have any silvering going on, okay, but if you do, and I think I might try and deliberately make some silvering so I can show you. If you do, I'll show you how to do it in a sec, but we need to let that nicely wrinkle up, soften up, conform to the model, okay, and we need to keep on applying coat after coat after coat until we get it looking really nice and conform to it, and then we can sort out silvering, recessed panel lines and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be back, you know, when all this is nicely down and we're coming down to those last little stages. Okay, as you can see now, it's looking actually not bad. I've done about 2 coats of micro sole, okay, just 2 coats, but because we've got such a nice smooth surface that we've really took a bit of time and patience just getting that nice and smooth and doing that bit of a procedure I showed you, it really has gone down quite nicely. I mean, we've got really no silvering going on at all, really. I mean, we've got a little bit going up here, which I'll show you, and we've also got here in those, let's see if I can bring you in a little bit more closer and show you what I mean. Just add a bit, there we go. Okay, as you can see, just here, right, see that the way it looks a bit silvery? Now that's like a little a dip, a hole sort of thing, okay, and just here as well. That is what silvering is, where you get trapped air underneath the decal between the model, okay. So what we need to do is we need to basically get that clear decal film touching the model, okay. So what we're going to do this, okay, we're just going to cut in to our clear decal film, okay, just to get that nicely cut in, so we've got a bit of a hole. And then we've got these just here as well, which we can also just cut into as well, okay. And we've even got some little bubbles going on. We've got a little bubble here as well, so we can cut into that. And just there, we've also got our recessed panel lines just here, okay. And what we can do, we can take our blade and just run that all the way down our recessed panel line, and we've got some going across here as well, okay. And just up here, let's just maneuver this onto the camera. Okay, here we've got a few bubbles going on, so we can just cut into these as well. And what this basically does is it's made a nice little cut for our micro sole to then actually get access to get underneath the decal film where those holes or recessed panel lines are, or bubbles or silvering is, to get under there and actually do its magic and get the decal film attached, nicely adhered to our model. Okay, so we can apply a nice another coat of microsole, knowing that our microsole is going to get in and under those cuts, okay, to then be able to start getting underneath and working its way into the decal and getting those little problem areas all nice and sorted. Okay, let's bring you out a sec. Whoa. Just so you can see what's going on a bit more. Okay, so we can get all these little areas, and maybe these little bumps we can kind of try and work it in a little bit. Okay, not too much, because this microsole wrinkles up and you don't want to kind of rip it, tear it, get the wrinkles going wrong, and then you get creases in your work and everything. Okay, so that's sort of like another layer of microsole. It's not probably gonna, shall we say, all of a sudden solve everything and all those little problem areas are sorted. Okay, we might have to come along, do a bit more cutting, apply another coat, a bit more cutting, apply another coat. Okay, and I'll keep doing that until they're all basically all gone. Okay, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be one or two little areas that just it gets to that point where no matter how much you cut, apply, it just doesn't go away, and I'll show you how to sort them out so we can have this area, which could be potentially very nasty and silvery, be all nice and perfect. Okay, now this has had a couple more coats of the microsole, done a bit of cutting, you know, getting rid of those tiny last bits of silvering, and you know, just getting in there in the recessed panel lines. A little bit more to do, but I just want to quickly show you kind of like if you've got one of those really problem areas. Okay, to be honest with you, I've had no really problem areas where no matter how much microsole you apply, you just can't get rid of a little bit of silvering. Okay, because actually it's gone down rather well. But sometimes, you know, in these little kind of dips here, okay, you'll get that bit of silver, and I've got a tiny little bit there, which you probably might not be able to see on camera. But to get round these, okay, last resort, okay, and that is your Tamiya extra thin cement. Okay, now with this stuff, it will obliterate any decal. Okay, it will just melt it like nobody's business. Okay, so you've got to be careful, okay, of how you apply it. Okay, you don't want loads and loads of the extra thin cement on the end of your brush. Okay, but what you want to do is just lightly touch the problem area. Okay, you don't want to brush. Okay, you just want to give it light little dabs. Okay, so you just get a little bit of that Tamiya extra thin cement in there. Okay, and that will just melt away our decal film. Okay, and once it's melted away, it will get all that nice silvering, well, all that problematic silvering all gone out the way, because it basically just melts it and virtually welds it to your paintwork. That's why you don't want to put too much down, you don't want to be brushing it. It's just a quick light dab, and that's all you need, and it should nicely get rid of any of those problematic silvering bits. Okay, you've got to be careful on, say, because I mean here we've done some nice simple, you got decal film that is nice and clear. Okay, so there's not really much of a problem with that. But when you start going on to bits which are, say, you know, red, which are coloured, okay, if you start kind of touching those areas, okay, you've got to be careful, because you will literally obliterate it, and you'll start getting red coming off and smudging and all this kind of stuff. So you've got to be careful with it, but it's a nice quick easy way of getting rid of those just areas you just can't get rid of. But as I say, these models, these decals haven't been that bad, because they are good decals. They are made by a cartographer, okay, and because I went through all that process of making sure it's all nice and smooth, which is a key part to this, okay, and making sure that we got our cotton wool bud and wiped it all down and everything, okay, it has gone on really, really nice. Now you might be looking at this on camera and you might also be thinking, you're looking at these decals and they're looking a bit of a different colour, okay. What this is our paintwork here has had a nice gloss coat all over it, and when a gloss goes down it darkens up the actual colour, okay. Because these decals have got a bit of a matteness to it, okay, what's going to happen there is when matte goes on paint, it lightens it up. So what you've got is the decals are matte, so it lightens the paintwork up, and our paintwork here has got a gloss coat on it, so it darkens it up, okay. Now that isn't a problem. It looks a little bit off right now, but trust me, once we've done all these decals, okay, and then give it a little bit of a wipe down and then apply our sealing in gloss coat where we're sealing our decals, okay, our gloss work, our paint work will be glossy, our decals will be glossy, and the difference between matte and gloss will disappear, and all our paint work and decals and everything will all blend in at the same colour, okay, and then at the end we can put a matte coat on and it will be all fine, okay. So don't worry about how that kind of looks now, where it looks a little bit light where the see-through decal is, and how the paintwork looks a bit dark, okay. So that will clear itself up, okay. So apart from that, the decals for this Sea Vixen by Airfix, okay, the decals you're not going to have a problem with the rest of them. It was just this area I just wanted to kind of concentrate on and show you, you know, how to get all this kind of mass of clear decal film going on here. So I hope that's been of a help.